We are live. Welcome to the Red Cup review, everybody. We are about 30 seconds late, but that's okay. I'm your host, Rob Banks. Thanks for tuning in this week. I got a special guest. The Red Cup review had a travel across the space-time continuum to find ourselves deep in the outer reaches of Knick Knack's Plastic Planet. Introduce yourself, Knick Knack.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you so much for having me on Red Cup. I really, really appreciate it. Red Cup, and it looks like Baz is back with us. If I see him in the little corner there. So yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for having me on. Welcome to the Plastic Planet, as it would be. I run a kind of a bi-weekly YouTube show. We focus on action figure collecting, display strategies, and we have a really good time doing it because you know what? Action figure collecting is kind of an absurd hobby. Let's just face it. We're all grown-up adults collecting toys, and so I do poke a lot of fun at us and at myself for this hobby, and just the sheer awesomeness of it, but the sheer ridiculousness of it as well.
That's pretty awesome, man. Let me tell you, there's a couple of things you mentioned in there that piqued my interest, especially the part when you spoke about displaying options and doing videos there, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, I got to ask you, what's Knick Knack's Plastic Planet? How the hell you come up with a name like that?
Well, okay, so Knick Knack is actually the I wanted to kind of come up with a clever handle, something that was catchy. I have 20 years of broadcasting experience. I've been in TV and radio. I was a stand-up comedian for a stint. I just kind of wanted to come up with something that was clever, funny, and catchy. And Knick Knack was just something I came up with, interestingly enough, while watching old James Bond movies, and of course, The Man with the Golden Gun. As you'll recall, the small person in that movie who went on to play Tattoo in Fantasy Island, correct?
Yep.
His name in the film is Knick Knack. Well, I'm just about a smidge under 5'7". I'm definitely on the shorter end of the spectrum, so I'm kind of poking fun at my own height when I call myself Knick Knack. Plus, it's kind of a play on words because Knick Knack is like, people think of knickknacks, people think of, junky things and collectibles and things like that. So it's a play on that and my height. And so that's where I came up with Knick Knack. Now, Plastic Planet just came up. I just kind of thought, well, I live with all this collectibles. I've got literally 2 rooms full of plastic crap. And so, I feel like, that's kind of the name of my man cave is the Plastic Planet. So that's where that came from.
Outrageous. You got a triple entendre working for you right there. Outrageous.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Okay, Knick Knack, what is your favorite high-end collectible? Out of all the collectibles, out of all the plastic crap you have in your man caves, what is your favorite high-end?
My favorite high-end. You know what? It was funny. Let me just grab this really fast. We were on the same Facebook thing the other night, and I know you love this piece as well.
That's fire.
This is of course this Christopher Reeve Superman Hot Toys figure. This was the second Hot Toys figure I ever bought. You know what? It was one of those things. I saw it and I was like, and at the time it was like, it was over $200, I think, going for. And and it took me a long time to kind of bring myself to collect Hot Toys figures because they're so goddamn expensive. And it just feels you really have to validate it. You really gotta commit when you buy a Hot Toys figure. And so, you know what? This was the second one I ever bought. The first one, of course, was the Luke Skywalker right here, the Bespin Luke Skywalker. What was that? DMX version? The DMX one?
DX7. That was the DX07.
DX07. Thank you. Sometimes these the little numerations that these things have escapes me. But nevertheless, so yeah, this figure was such a dead ringer for the late great Christopher Reeve, who was just such an enormous part of my childhood. Christopher Reeve as Superman, Mark Hamill as Luke. That was my bread and butter as a child. So this is probably my favorite high-end collectible, and it is high-end because if you go try to find him on the secondary market now, forget about it. I do dig this. Yeah, I do love this figure a lot.
The Christopher Reeve Hot Toy is definitely my favorite as well. And when you collect something at high end, in my head, I think unless you have a certain attachment to a movie or a specific TV show or something or an era, it's got to be something that's super iconic. I don't think it gets any more iconic than Christopher Reeve's playing Superman.
No, I totally agree. It has to just it just has to invoke just such a feeling of complete and utter nostalgia for you to drop that kind of cash on an item like that. Almost all my Hot Toys figures Now I do have some newer Hot Toys figures from some newer films. I do have some Force Awakens Hot Toys figures. I do have the Henry Cavill as Superman Hot Toys figure. But I will say the lion's share of my collection are all just, you know, sweet spots from my childhood, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially if you're going to go out of your way to get collectibles as expensive as Hot Toys, or even like a premium format figure or something like that. All right. Before we go, I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you. I want to like kind of get the ball rolling on that. But before that, I want you to make everybody that's in the chat room right now know where they can reach you and how they should subscribe and why should they subscribe to your channel.
Hey, thank you so much, Red Cup, for mentioning that. You know what? Okay, so you can look me up on YouTube at Knick Knack's Plastic Planet. Just type in that in the little search field. You will find me. Subscribe to my channel. You know, we have a lot said before. You know what? I really do kind of pick fun at this hobby. It really is a lighthearted channel. I feel like I bring a lot to the table as far as you know what my channel is, as far as, you know, we laugh, we have a good time. It's all about it's about collecting, but it's also about what these pieces mean. Oh shit, I'm dropping stuff. What these pieces mean to us, you know, as collectors.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay. So everybody make sure you get, go like on your computer right now, go to a new tab, keep this open and keep the comments rolling in. And, oh, we got 14 viewers. We just broke a Red Cup record. We normally only have the most we've ever had is 13. We just broke. Unbelievable. And you just got a sub too, man, from Yay Toys Plus, our guest from a few weeks ago. What's up, guy? We're going to say what's up to Kev's Matrix. He says, Hells yeah, he bought 7 out of the 8 soup spaces for his Fortress of Solitude diode. That's some serious commitment, and that's awesome. I'd love to see that one day. Kenny B says, what's up, Baz? They're going back and forth. This is great. All right, so they know where to reach you. The subs are coming in, and we got 14 viewers in the room. Let's keep it moving. Okay, so we did the favorite high-end. What's your favorite low-end collectible?
Oh, my favorite low-end collectible. Oh, man, you know what? That would have to be, you know what? That would have to be one of these. This is kind of retro, so maybe I don't know if this is low end, but that would have to be these Tomy robots. Do you guys remember these from the 70s? Now they're wind-ups.
Wow.
These things are awesome.
Those. Baz, did you recognize that?
Have some sort of like primal memory, like flashback going on, but
right, these were
not coherent.
These were put out by the Tomy company in the 70s, and you know what? I recently bought a pair of these on eBay. Just because it had such a nostalgic feel for me. Now, as you can see, it's a robot and it's got a red dome. It's very, very reminiscent of R2-D2. This is sort of a poser R2-D2 because I believe these did come out post Star Wars. But anyway, I had one of these as a kid, and I brought it on a family vacation because, you know, my parents let me bring a toy, but you know, they told me to bring something that, you know, that wouldn't get lost. So I brought the Tomy robot with me on our vacation. And of course, I left it in the goddamn hotel room. And I mourned the loss of that little robot for years and years until the other day. And I didn't even know what it was. I forgot exactly. I didn't know who made it, you know, where it was, you know, what was it manufactured, what era it was from. I knew it was when I was little, so it had to have been 70s, but I wasn't entirely sure. So I had to do all this research to find the damn things again. Of course, here's a different example. This one's blue with orange arms, and the arm's a little broken on that one. But nevertheless, so I had to do some research, and I ended up finding these guys off the eBay for $7.99 shipped. So yeah, there's a little bit of nostalgia, childhood gold there. I mean, to me, looking at these things kind of invokes the same feeling that you get when when you were a kid and your mom would make you macaroni and cheese for dinner, for lunch, and even let you eat some Cheetos with it and maybe some grape soda. That's what these invoke in me.
That's freaking awesome. And there's nothing like the fact there was a quote from Kevin Smith, because I used to listen to Fat Man on Batman, and he has a quote that I use all the time, and I ape as my own and kind of morph it and shift it because I don't remember the exact quote, but it has something to do with there's nothing quite like the fountain of youth, and that's like the nostalgia of buying something or owning something from our childhood, bringing it back, making us feel young again, and there's nothing like that feeling in the entire world. So I totally understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, that quote totally resonates with me. I mean, that is what this hobby is really all about, is just maintaining the positive feelings that a lot of us brought from our childhoods. And you know, I mean, it really is a this collection, my whole collection, is really a monument to my parents in that they provided me with such an awesome childhood that I just can't quite let it go, you know?
Well, you know what they say: you raise your kid with an action figure addiction, and they ain't gonna have money for a drug addiction. So they did something right.
Okay, so you brought up poser R2D2s. My favorite poser R2D2 is Vincent from the Black Hole. You remember him?
Oh yes, oh yes. Do you actually have one?
No, I wish.
Oh, okay. A buddy of mine had a bunch of Black Hole figures. My comrade in arms. He does some things here on the Plastic Planet with me. His name here is Uncle Pat. If you're a subscriber to my show, you'll know Uncle Pat. He's a great artist, really good comic book artist, and just a real lover of comics and all things pop culture. And he had Black Hole figures as a kid, and he's to this day angry at his mother because she threw him out or sold him at a garage sale or something.
There's a pop coming out of Vincent, which I know awesome. We talked about not liking pops, but this one might actually be buying.
That one might be one to buy. You know what would be really good to buy if we're talking about Black Holes? Of course, Old Bob. Now, yet Vincent was the one that was in great shape, but then Old Bob was the other one. He was all trashed and his metal was all scrapped. Old Bob. Yeah, Old Bob was my favorite. And then, of course, Maximilian. That would be awesome. The giant red robot from the Black Hole. So much gold. I mean, that movie is gold.
All right, so we're going to open it up. This is now, we got to know the Plastic Planet. We ventured there, right? Now we're going to make a pit stop and open it up for everyone here. And for the people that are watching, we want you to comment and write what your favorite stuff is. And we're going to talk about who has the best offerings on the toy market currently right now. That could be high-end or low-end. I'm going to kick it back to you guys, and then I'll take the reins afterwards. So what is your favorite company, and who has the best toy offerings right now?
Talking to me, I'll start, I guess. I would definitely say if you're talking high end, it's got to be Hot Toys. Since they've gotten the Star Wars license, they've got the DC license, they've got the Marvel license. I mean, everything Hot Toys does is just amazing. I mean, there's things you can nitpick about a Hot Toys figure. There always is, and for the price, there sure as hell should be. But Hot Toys hits it out of the park almost every single time. I do reviews of Hot Toys figures on my channel, and I find myself all too often just reaping praise on it. First of all, because I'm committed, because I'm invested, because I bought the figure myself. But still, I mean, there's just so much amazement with Hot Toys figures. Now, if you're talking low end, if you're talking about mass retail items, I think it varies by not by company but by line. You'll look at like what Hasbro is doing. Hasbro does Marvel Legends and they do Star Wars, most notably in the boys department. But then you got like companies like Mattel who does, who has the DC license, but then also does like the Jurassic World. Now Hasbro for the first Jurassic World film that came out 3 years ago, had the license. Hasbro had the license for Jurassic World, and honestly, what they put out was extremely subpar. But when Mattel has taken it in this last year, honestly, that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I've talked about this on my own channel, that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom line is just a home freaking run. I mean, playability, awesomeness. I mean, they're great for kids. They're great for collectors. There's just so much to love about that, and that's a Mattel product. Whereas, and then contrastly, I've always, as a DC fan, as a DC Comics fan, I've always kind of been pissed because DC or Mattel has had the license to the multiverse DC figures, the 10-inch line or 6-inch, the 6-inch line, the 6-inch DC multiverse figures that Mattel has had, and then of course Hasbro has had Marvel Legends, and the Marvel Legends are just really head and shoulders above what Mattel's doing with the DC figures. So it's really, to me, I can't name one over the other. So I think it just depends by line if you're going off of mass retail.
All right. Awesome. Baz, what about you?
All right. So mostly I've been collecting Mafex Dark Knight stuff, the movie stuff. For SH Figuarts, I've just been getting Avengers movie figures.
Figure Arts Avengers movie figures do look pretty dynamite, especially the Thanos, I want to say, and from what I've seen from the Iron Man. And I'm not even a fan of that Iron Man armor, but it looks outrageous.
They have some of the best face sculpts. I think they capture the face sculpts the best out of Mafex and Figuarts. But Mafex has been doing the Dark Knight movie stuff. So I've been primarily collecting those.
So how do you feel? Not to cut you off, but you mentioned Mafex a few times. How do you feel about Mafex figures? Because this week I saw this, and this completely blew my mind. And I may actually have to get my first Mafex figure because I think this Venom figure just looks right off the pages of Todd McFarlane if I've ever seen one.
That looks pretty sweet. That looks pretty sweet.
So how's the quality on the Mafex, Baz?
No, they're good. They're good. Especially if it's not. Do they have an Eddie Brock face sculpt on that?
Yes, the Eddie Brock face sculpt that has multiple different faces as well. Nothing really with his tongue coming out because this is more of the McFarlane version where he had like just a really big crazy smile.
And they're just trying to capture what you call it, the comic book character version. So
that was always my favorite version of Venom too. So I really like that. But I'm kind of I don't have any SH figure arts. I don't have any Mafexes. The only 6-inch high-end stuff I do collect is Mezco, but that Venom is really, really dynamite, and who knows what Mezco is going to be able to do with a figure like Venom, especially when it comes to like their cloth and stuff, because like the PX Spider-Man that came out, the black suit version, as nice as it was and as great as photographs, I have a feeling that thin suit that they have over him, that faux leather, is going to crack eventually, so I may have to get this Venom to go with my Spider-Man.
I've been looking at the Revoltech Venom. You ever see the Revoltechs?
I have, but you're talking about the one where he has like the crazy long jaw. He's almost bluish looking.
Yes, yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that. I've seen it. It looks cool. It looks crazy. Again, my favorite Venom is the McFarlane version, but I mean, he has so many freaking versions. It's So hoping for a Garfield cameo in the Venom film. Okay, so my favorite lines out right now. Let's see, Hot Toys, but specifically their Star Wars stuff, but I'm not doing any prequel stuff, so I'm going to be off of them for a while. And I'm not doing anything from the new trilogies if it's not Rey or Kylo Ren related. I may pick up a Poe Dameron. I'm not sure. I'm thinking I just specifically want to stick to the main antagonist and protagonist of that movie. So I'm waiting for just more of their more iconic type characters, which, they're so wrapped up in Marvel and DC, and they're up Star Wars' ass so much, you know, who knows if you're ever going to get like the Ripley and the Power Loader or something like that they've been teasing for the longest time. I've said this much times before. I'm waiting on the Matrix figures to come out from them, so that may, if they ever reveal anyone else from that line, become my favorite line because it's one of my favorite movies. As far as Lowen goes, it's obviously Mezco. I love what Mezco is doing. As far as lower, I don't collect anything lower, but I got to say that the Hasbro Marvel Legends are above and beyond anything I've seen from the Toy Biz versions, especially the last 2 or 3 waves. I think they're really knocking it out of the park, and they got something really good going.
Yeah, somebody brought up NECA. What do you think of NECA? Because they put out one of the best figures out this year in God of War, Kratos.
Oh, yeah, I've been hearing good things about him as well. He's going to be up there for Action Figure of the Year, definitely. What?
Yeah.
I love NECA. Sometimes I feel like they have some quality control issues on their figures. I bought a NECA Christopher Reeve Superman, and it's actually featured in the intro to my show weekly, where there's a still of me because his leg broke off. I was trying to pose him up and the leg snapped. I know you're supposed to warm those up or something, but I've experienced some quality control issues with NECA, although they do a really fine product for, just like $20, $25, what those figures go for, up to $30. So
yeah, anytime you get a stiff joint, this for anybody watching too, anytime you have a stiff joint, you got to heat it up with a blow dryer, but don't put that stuff right on there or you'll melt the plastic. Okay, right. So we've spoken about all of our favorite high ends, low ends, all that other good stuff. We started touching on Star Wars a little bit. Knick Knack, what's your favorite Star Wars movie, toy and character? And then we'll kick it over to Baz next. So we're going to start with Star Wars movie, toy, and character. Take it away.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't mean to be. Yeah, I'm. You know what? My favorite Star Wars movie kind of goes. I'm kind of like in between two of them. It's obviously there's The Empire Strikes Back, and that is everyone's answer. That is every single person's answer in the world is The Empire Strikes Back. But I also feel like Revenge of the Sith Episode 3 there was so much just amazingly cool things in that movie. I've never walked out of a movie as an adult and felt more satisfied with how they left it than Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. There was even a major art critic that was giving a symposium in Chicago several years ago and argued, and she laid out a major argument why the last like 30 minutes of Revenge of the Sith is the greatest art form of the 21st century. I'm not lying.
What?
It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's on YouTube. Just the constructs of good versus evil, of industrialment versus, you know, like nature, just so much. I mean, it was like high intellectual stuff. I can't remember her name, but to me, yeah, I go between Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith, of the long short of it. My favorite Star Wars character is probably Luke Skywalker. You know what? I love, even as a kid, I identified with Luke Skywalker more than anyone. There's no Star Wars character that better represents, and this is, you know, Joseph Campbell's, you know, iconic hero's journey more than Luke Skywalker. I mean, Luke gets his ass handed to him for 2 films. He has to get rescued by nearly every single character before he actually is, you know, until he finally, you know, is you know, mature and complete as a Jedi Knight. And then in Return of the Jedi, it is so satisfying to see him just lay down a giant can of whoop ass in Jabba's palace, and then on the sail barge, and then, you know, throughout the rest of the entire movie. So the build up for him as a character is one of the greatest in all of cinema, in my opinion. If you know, it encapsulates what modern myth is all about, and why Star Wars is so special to so many people is Luke Skywalker's hero's journey. I mean, that was something that was cited in my college film classes, you know, 20 years ago. So, and my favorite Star Wars figure is still to this day is my farm boy, Luke Skywalker. I've taken him to a couple Star Wars premieres with me. He always comes in my pocket. This was mine from when I was a kid. There's even a red pin on his face where I kind of drew red pin on him to show he'd gotten effed up in a few fights, you know, because I identified with Luke Skywalker failing more times than he succeeded, even as a child.
Does he have the yellow lightsaber?
This one does not have the yellow lightsaber. That yellow lightsaber probably went bye-bye many, many years ago. I actually used to stick colored toothpicks into his little lightsaber thing there, and those actually worked better than anything Kenner provided back in the day with those colored toothpicks. And it was actually screen accurate because it was blue, not yellow.
When Empire Strikes Back came out and we had Han, did you also put him in, like, say, a cup of water and then freeze him in the icebox?
I think everybody did that.
Yeah, my Han was so flimsy. The joints on him were so flimsy because I froze him so many times in carbonite or in a Coca-Cola plastic glass that I definitely did that.
Outrageous. That's freaking awesome. You know, it's amazing how people from all over the world. I mean, you know, me and Baz come from the same area in New York, but you coming from Colorado, everyone's doing the same thing. Even when we were kids, you know, we're all sharing these experiences all over the world. You know, that's incredible.
It is a shared experience, and, you know, that's why Star Wars is so special, in my opinion. You know what, people, I know that, you know, I think that as far as, like, you know, Marvel is kind of the king right now, and I'll give them that because their movies have been good. They are the kind of the king right now. But you know what? As far as, like, iconic modern myth, Star Wars it transcends, you know, so many groups of people, and it's like known all over the world, and it's almost biblical to people, and that's why people get so fiery and upset about it, and people debate and get angry about it because it's almost religion. It truly is almost religion.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and Baz, I want to give you time to comment on that as well, because we've had crazy long discussions about 2 things: Michael Keaton Batman and Star Wars. Okay, and it's one of those things where Knick Knack, you keep mentioning modern myth, and I can almost imagine a nuclear bomb drop and devastating the world, and the only thing that's left is, like, the original Star Wars movies, and you fast forward like 2,000 years and whatever, you know, type of humans are living at that time, those become like the new stories, these religious stories almost, you know, and there are so many timeless elements in, like, you know, the son having to confront the father, and the ultimate betrayal, and the romance between Han and Leia, and, you know, the love triangle that wasn't really ever a love triangle, but, you know, it was for a time between Han, Leia, and Luke. I mean, there's just so many things that are timeless in those movies.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree.
Intimate love between brother and sister. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Baz, what's your favorite Star Wars movie, toy, and character?
The Last Jedi. It's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Stop.
My favorite character is this porg.
he's got a troll. He's just gonna troll the episode.
What was the next question?
I guess that the porg is your favorite Star Wars toy too.
Favorite Star Wars toy ever since I was a little boy.
All right, so your favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. I'll answer for you. What's your favorite?
No. It's Star Wars, the first one.
Oh, it's the first one now.
Yes.
Okay, so is it one of those things that like can be interchangeable at any given moment on how you feel? Like, why is it the first one for you now?
Because I started watching it again. I watched it like the last 2 times I watched it. I was like, this is so underrated. Like everybody talks about Empire, but this is the movie that started the whole, sensation. And especially the Battle of Yavin. That the way it was filmed, just the rising tension, it was drawn out. Like they don't film action sequences like that. The way they built the tension until it was only Luke left at the end to destroy the Death Star.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree too.
Slow build of tension, and like you really felt it. When he had to use the Force, and Obi-Wan came to him and said, "Luke, use the Force," and he closes his eyes and he shuts down the whole, that whole thing he was looking through, and it was, I get goosebumps now, thinking about it, but. It's kind of like, like today, like you have everything is like quick, fast-paced action sequences. That was like filmed like old school, it was beautiful.
Well, back in the day, that's definitely like classic movie magic right there, where they didn't have to rely on fancy choreography or CGI special effects, so they had to use tension and actual movie-making techniques to make it good.
Yeah. So that's actually number 1 for me. Of course, Luke is my favorite character until he was ruined in The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson's crappy writing. And like Knick Knack said before, I mean the greatness of Luke was like we saw him young, like when he was a teenager, he received his the lightsaber from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Then he gets a little bit of training. Next movie, he progresses, he fights Darth Vader, gets his ass whooped. And then the third movie, he's all Black Hours kicking ass, attacking Jabba's palace and shit. So, and then in The Last Jedi, we see him, he's a bum and he's like a hobo and he's given up on life and so it was nice to see his progression up until then. And then I thought The Last Jedi blew it. But
so all right, so for me, real quick, I'm going Empire. I don't think it gets any better than that, just movie wise. I know Yay Toys Plus also commented in the comment section that that's possibly his favorite movie of all time too. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie of all time. My favorite Star Wars toy. Oh geez, that's a tough one. I gotta say currently, because I didn't have those toys growing up. Those were handed down from my older brother. So I guess if I had to go super old school, I'd probably say the Millennium Falcon playset, although I had limited time with it as a kid. And currently right now, I got to say my favorite is the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader that Hot Toys just came out. And I hate to be the guy that goes, oh, this is my favorite figure. Because my whole Star Wars collection right now is basically Hot Toys. And I hate to be the guy that's like, oh, the new thing is really the cool thing. No, it's not really about that. It's the fact that out of all these Star Wars figures that I get, and you open up a Hot Toy figure and 99% of the time you're flawed as soon as you pulled it out. Now I had the sideshow version of Vader, the deluxe version, and that was really nice and it fit in the collection very well. And a lot of people were like, get rid of it, go to the Hot Toys one. It's just better. It looks better. And I was like, nah, Vader's in a black costume. He looks fine. Whatever. I don't put the lights on or the sounds anyway. Then I actually sold that and said, you know what, screw it. It's got a great base. It's Empire Strikes Back. Let me get this. And I pulled that out. And before I even got him out of the plastic, my eyes came out of my head and was like, holy shit, this is Darth Vader. If I had a size increase ray and be able to build, he would be there. Total accuracy and everything else. And he poses great and he looks great. So I'm going with the Vader as my favorite Hot Toys, as my favorite.
Yeah, I got that figure sitting at my feet right now. It's still in the shipper. I got to do a review on him, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh man, unbelievable, man, unbelievable! And when you do get open that figure up, definitely send me a PM or something and let me know what you think, because the figure is totally outrageous. Okay, I want to go through some of the comments now.
Yeah.
We got Yay Toys Plus, guys. I love this community. Awesome, rock on, excellent comment. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, Miss Bell is ringing. Miss Bell is ringing the bell. How appropriate is that? Mini Fridge God. Michael Keaton will always be the best Batman. Yeah, probably. Cheers to great fans from Kev's Matrix. Okay, Kid Perfect says hi. What up, kid? How's it going? Kev's Matrix. Rogue One did kind of the same. What?
Is there a bell going on?
So I said Miss Bell is ringing the bell. She has like a little bell, like a little school bell. She's just ringing a bell now. Every time she thinks something sounds cool, she's laughing and ringing a bell.
I thought it was going crazy.
Okay, Kenny B. Crazy thing is Rian Johnson wrote and directed one of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, Ozymandias, and then did The Last Jedi. Okay, well, since everybody else is commenting on The Last Jedi, and I'm going to leave this here, and we're going to move on and stay positive with this, because we got a ton of other things we got to get to this week. I loved The Last Jedi. Everyone could throw the tomatoes and the lettuce at me. Yeah, who cares what the host likes? I know. Boo! All right, I'll be the penguin.
You know what's cool though is that name of the episode is Ozymandias.
Oh yeah, which is funny because if you want to take this in a meta sense, Ozymandias, the actual statue that was found, cracked and destroyed, the epitaph under it said, look upon me, the great and mighty Ozymandias, something like that, and like tremble before me. And the whole irony was that the statue was cracked and destroyed throughout time. So it's funny he would direct that episode and then go on to direct The Last Jedi and have that almost be the ruin of his career.
I thought he directed. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought he directed the episode of Breaking Bad with the fly in the meth lab.
That's the one. But I guess that's called Ozymandias.
Oh, okay, I thought it was called like the fly. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken.
Whatever. I'm not a big Breaking Bad fan. I did watch it. I didn't get to the end, but that's a conversation for another time.
Hey guys, real fast. I don't mean to interrupt.
I don't know what that means. Oh, the old school electronic X-Wing was my fave from Kev's Matrix. Awesome. That is a very cool one. All right, Knick Knack, what do you got for us?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. My wife came down and handed this to me while she's upstairs watching the live stream. My wife's handle on YouTube is Disney Girly Girl. She's an avid Disney collector, and she wanted just to share this album, this Black Hole album that she picked up at a thrift store. And if you'll notice over here on the side, you'll really notice the Sentinels, like the battle droids in Black Hole. Don't they look a lot like Darth Vader, if you can see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Dude, your wife is so cool, man. That is awesome.
And
this is my wife. So, yeah, she is really cool. She's an avid Disney collector, especially old school, 1970s and before. So
Let me tell you something.
I just wanted to share this.
That's dynamite looking, man. You could put that up. That's an awesome graphic. And then she's ringing the bell again. You're going to make everyone think they're going nuts.
Yeah.
You're going to make everyone think they're like the Joker or something. Oh, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Good transition into the biggest news of the week. Why do I have all these Joker figures on the table? Well, it was released that DC released the first shots of the Joker, and I'm going to pull them up here real quick, and then we're going to get everybody's take. Here
I put up some new ones up on the Red Cup official Facebook page.
Yeah, so if you guys want to follow us for picks and stuff during the week, go to the official Red Cup Review Facebook page, and it's not just one of those pages. You can like the Red Cup Review on Facebook, but we also have the official Red Cup Review page where you could actually make comments and put posts up, and that's just for the people that like the show and want to just comment and throw stuff up, and for us to release news of the week. So here was news of the week. There's the first smiley face of John Wayne Gacy. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. So we got that pick. We also have, this was actually the first pick they released. Regular guy. I don't know.
Arthur Fleck.
Arthur Fleck, the actual Arthur Fleck picture. I got to do it on an angle so you guys could actually see what he kind of looks like there. And then we're going to zip through a couple of photos. And yeah, he has like a very No Country for Old Men look. And then this was released, and this got me right there. This is freaking dynamite. This came out right before the show started, I believe. Why am I not getting a good view on that? I want to kind of capture the face. There you go. There's the look I'm looking for.
They're filming in Manhattan.
What happened?
They're filming in Manhattan today. They filmed in Manhattan.
Yeah, this was right on Bedford Park Boulevard. They had these pictures at the train station. So basically, for those that don't know, here's another picture too as we talk about it. There was a little video that came out of the Joker and his goons running out of the train. The train opens up and everybody's running out, and he kind of comes out and pulls off a mask, very Heath Ledger-esque, and he's kind of like skipping and like laughing-ish, and he comes into the foreground. That's all you got. So I want to kick it back to you guys. What do you think of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, the casting, the makeup, everything we've seen so far? And everybody that's in the chat room, please comment and let us know what you think of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker.
I'll just start out. You know what? I'll hold my opinions. I learned a valuable lesson back in the day, several years ago, when before The Dark Knight came out. I remember when they announced Heath Ledger being cast as the Joker, and I remember me and my good buddy Uncle Pat, we were hanging out together, and we were just kind of going off on it. Because everything we knew Heath Ledger for, like, oh my God, it's the pretty boy from 10 Things I Hate About You. This is going to suck. And then, of course, Heath Ledger went on to be, arguably the best Joker ever. So I just, you know what, when it comes to these kind of things, I just kind of shut my mouth and wait for the movie to come. I know that doesn't make for good YouTube, but that's definitely kind of where I'm at.
What about you, Baz?
He's been one of my favorite actors since like the late 90s, since I seen him in a movie called Inventing the Abbots, 8mm. Was excellent in Her.
Johnny, one of my favorite all-time sci-fi movies. Good call.
What was that? Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash movie, Gladiator. You have to see The Master with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That's on the list too as well.
That's one of his best performances, and he's been nominated for an Academy Award, I think, 3 times. So the guy he's an excellent actor. I think it's a perfect choice. You may get another Oscar nomination for a portrayal of the Joker on film again with this casting. So,
what do you think of the face makeup? Now let's go to the face makeup itself. What do you think of that little video they did where he was standing there and kind of like he's like looking like kind of sad and depressed, and then it's flashing real fast, and then it's the smiley face, and he kind of smiles, and then what I thought was excellent was at the end of that, right when the music cuts out, he goes from like this smile to just straight.
He does like a wink with his eye. And then it's serious.
Yeah, I love that serious look, man. That got me like, oh shit, here comes serial killer Joker. Here's
it's kind of like a primal like kind of thing. It's not really, like as well done as you think it would be. But I think they're going more for like more his performance more than say the visual look of his makeup.
Knick Knack.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like you guys, I grew up in the 1970s, 1980s, and my first bedroom as a child was a circus theme, and it had, red, white, and red, white striped wallpaper, and then right underneath my lamp as a child was a mural. It was a carpet mural. I don't know if you guys ever had one of those as a kid. It was a carpet mural of a clown, and this MFer was the scariest damn thing I've ever seen in my life. So honestly, anything that looks kind of like pseudo, like legit stand up, straight up clown is scary as shit to me. So I'm all in. I'm all in, guys. I hate clowns. I really do. I'm scared to see it. I'm so you know what? I'm all in, dude. The thing with the Joker is that when he looks how he's been presented, like in the '89 Batman, and I love that film, and how he was presented, even like the Jared Leto Batman from Suicide Squad. It's almost like a cartoon quality to those renditions of the Joker. There's almost a cartoon quality. This is edgy and real world. This looks like the motherfucker on the side of the highway. So yeah, it's scary, guys.
His makeup isn't gonna be perfect. He's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's
not
exactly.
a makeup artist. He's a
psycho clown. That's what the Joker is. And I'm all in, guys. I'm all in.
So visually, I kind of get like Heath Ledger meets John Wayne Gacy meets the classic Joker outfit-wise, like the suit and the vest.
I love the suit. That, like, when I seen the little flashing thing, I was like, I was like looking at everything, right? So I have it on I have it paused. I'm looking at his lapels. I'm seeing the green shirt underneath, and I'm like, wow, this might be the most accurate Joker-esque comic booky / car animated series like look. And then when I saw him walking out of the subway, I'm like, look, he's lanky. I'm digging the long hair as a shout back to Heath Ledger. Familiarity, whatever. He looks like a friggin' serial killer. You know, Joker over the course of time. I've seen a lot of hate on the internet. I love this. So apparently this is unanimous. We're all loving this. I've seen a lot of hate on the internet. It looks stupid. It looks like a clown. That's not Joker. It's just a clown guy. A similar story to Knick Knacks. I grew up at Grandma Viola's. And Grandma Viola had a clown fetish. She had clowns everywhere in the house. Dishes, clowns. Shit. The sad faces. She had the wind-up boxes where it was made of ceramic that they would whistle, and it was always the sad ones with the balloons, and they had like the
clown hobos, right?
The clown hobos. They had like the blue coloring in their eyes almost.
And somebody else who had that the fetish too. Hobo clowns.
So, and I always was like, yo, these are crazy. You know, that's kind of like where I get my collectability from Grandma's house, basically seeing all of her stuff because she had tons of clown stuff. So seeing this reminded me of that. So it brought back the nostalgia feels, and at the same time, it has a real creepy quality to it. A lot of people aren't liking that he has the blue on his face and the red nose. I like the red nose. I'm about. The blue reminds me of almost like his insides are crying. It's a very somber look surrounded by the happy white. I'm totally in on this. I think he looks like you have different versions of the Joker throughout the years, right? You had the Clown Prince of Crime in the 66 Batman with Cesar Romero. Then you had the gangster version with Jack Nicholson, who was like a more modernized version of the 66 version. Then you had the sociopath, lunatic, anarchist in Heath Ledger here, and then you had the other guy. I'm not even going to talk about him because I can't stand that movie. For what it was, it served its purpose.
You had the Hot Topic version.
The Hot Topic version. He fit the MO of that movie. He did, but now this Joker looks like a straight serial killer. Like, this guy will like come to your house and you'll shit your pants if he ties you up. You know, there's nothing crazy or wacky about him. Again, we haven't heard him talk yet. We haven't heard him laugh yet. I have a feeling once they release that audio, it's going to break the friggin' internet. But I am totally sold on this, and I love that somber feel to it. And I got to tell you guys, you know, it doesn't get any crazier, okay, than, you know, the crazy clown. You know,
did you get that at Walgreens?
Yes.
This is Walgreens.
The grandmother show up.
I got one. Yo, get bust it out.
So,
dude, you look like Patch Adams, bro. Patch Adams.
Speaking of big red noses like this,
you're not scary, dude. You're gonna cure my cancer, man, with a laugh. I mean, come on.
That's awesome. There's like a little footage of him skipping with like a grocery bag of the Joaquin Phoenix, and he walks up to a heavy set clown guy. So obviously he's in some kind of like circus area, and I believe he's like touching his nose, beep beep, you know, and that's why we busted this out for the event, and that was all due to Miss Bell. So thanks to her, you got Patch Adams with a Yankee hat for the show. Okay, moving on.
This also, I think, takes place like in the 70s. Because they had a lot of black people with afros in the subways.
If this takes place in the 70s, here's the other look that sold me on him. Look at that. That's crazy looking.
Well, that is nuts, man. That is nightmare fuel there. Nightmare fuel.
Right here. That's the picture right there that completely sold me on him. Oh, no, of course. People are dressing up like clowns and going crazy. Please, psychos of the world, don't do that. I want to enjoy this movie. Without having to look over my shoulder.
Scary clown, the clown from American Horror Story.
That's what I said.
That's what Miss Bell just said. The American Horror Story clown. Yes, that is definitely a scary ass clown.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're unanimously saying that this looks great. I'm happy we could all agree on this. That is wonderful. We want to keep the show moving, and I want to say What is your favorite iterations / actors that have portrayed the Joker? And give me 2 Joker moments. Guys, take it away. I need 2 Joker moments and your favorite iteration of the Joker so far. And we'll start with Baz this time. You asleep, Baz? You still with us?
I don't want to pick favorite. How about Joker moments?
All right, do Joker moments then. You have a problem with picking favorites. Let's go, man. Wake the fuck up.
All right. Joker moments from the Joker Brian Azzarello miniseries drawn by Lee Bermejo. He fucks his driver's wife and has one of his henchmen fucks his wife too in the back seat of his car.
That's pretty insane. Okay, so that's one. What's your other one, you sick bastard?
Under the Red Hood. When the Red Hood has a sit down with him in Arkham.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to recruit the Joker to kill the Red Hood. And the Joker asks for water. A henchman comes over, gives him water. Joker breaks the glass, slices the guy's neck, steals his gun, and shoots all the other henchmen.
Wow, outrageous. That's totally friggin' Joker. I'm glad you picked those 2. I picked 2 off the beaten path moments because he has so many moments that people kind of come up with. Knick Knack, what are your 2, not necessarily favorite Joker moments, just give me 2 iconic Joker moments that when you think of Joker come to mind.
Oh, man. You know what, guys? Compared to that shit, I am so basic, man. I feel like I ought to be sitting here with some Axe body spray talking about my fantasy football team with you guys because that you went so, 3rd level deep on me that I don't think I can follow that up. But what I had in mind was, see, you know what? Here's the thing, guys, is that when I was a kid, my mom didn't let me buy a lot of comic books. My mom was an English professor. And so comic books were kind of banned in my house up until I was a teenager. And then she was okay with it for whatever reason. But up until I was 13, 14 years old, I wasn't allowed to read comic books. So I didn't really I wasn't really introduced to a lot of these characters outside of their cinematic presence. So to me, it was always, when I went to the theater when I was, 14 years old and saw the 89 Batman film. Again, I feel so basic here, guys, but it's the scene where Jack Nicholson's Joker character had just killed off Jack Palance's character, the big henchman. He just shot him up. And he was introducing himself to the boardroom. It was like this corporate gangster scene, right? And the one gangster was kind of standing up to Jack Nicholson's Joker and said, "Well, what if I don't agree?" And then Jack Nicholson says, "Well, hey, we'll just put a handshake to it." And then, of course, he fries him. And then he throws everyone out of the boardroom. And Jack Nicholson's Joker proceeds to have an ongoing monologue with a charred corpse for 3 minutes. Now, I'm 14, 13 years old. And I was honestly shitting my pants because that was so just to me at the time, I'd been pretty sheltered. That was so just that made my head explode a little bit. So when I ever think of the Joker, I think of that. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
No, that's excellent. That popped into my mind too immediately also when I was thinking of moments.
Yeah. Especially when he grabs his necktie and shoves it up there and you actually can kind of hear the bones kind of crack,
Yeah. Ooh, we got a live one here.
Ooh, we have a live one here. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you did.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's great. Let me tell you, see, there's so many versions of the Joker. Baz, you went the extremely crazy route. Knick Knack is bringing a classic Joker moment because, he still is the crazy clown. Is there another Joker moment you have that comes to mind? Because then I'm going to spitfire my 2.
Oh, you know what? I don't have a specific. There was, of course, the one. What was that comic book? Of course, where he kidnaps Batgirl, and then he takes all these pictures of her nude and sends them to Commissioner Gordon. And he's like, "What is that? The killing
joke? The killing joke?
The killing joke? That's pretty freaking twisted." And wasn't that the Joker that also? Again, you know what? I can't go real deep into comicology because my real introduction to these characters is through their cinematic portrayals. Wasn't there? Didn't he? He killed Robin, didn't he?
Oh wait, okay, hold on a second. So Those will be your. I'm glad we all picked two different moments. Before I say mine, we got Kev's Matrix saying the end of Red Hood, Hell's yeah, let them all die. Art G agreed. Baremo had great moments. Kenny B favorite moment was in The Killing Joke when he told his joke. The second would have to be in The Dark Knight Returns during the Tunnel of Love scene where he completely broke Batman and destroyed him. Yes, agreed. A lot of people talk about what he did in Injustice. That was brutal. Yes, it most certainly was.
What he did in Injustice was ridiculously brutal.
Yeah, that was like next level stuff. I mean, what's next for this character to do? Pretty much that he keeps outdoing himself. All right,
it had to be so bad, horrible that Superman totally turned evil.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was just outrageous. My two Joker moments, echoing back to what Knick Knack said, beating Robin to death with a crowbar in Death of the Family back in the 80s when the fans got a chance to vote on whether or not they wanted Robin 2 to die. That was what's his name? Who's the second Robin?
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd, yeah. So he basically beats Jason Todd to death with a crowbar and then blows him up. We know, obviously, now you fast forward 30 years, he's not dead. He's the Red Hood again. But at that point, for like a very long period of time, Jason Todd was dead. It was one of those deaths in comics that he just stayed dead for a while, for a very, very long time, decades at least. So I got that as my first moment. My second one is not so when you hear about the Joker, you never really hear about this moment that much, but it was something that completely blew my mind during a cartoon that I didn't really particularly even like that much. And that was Batman Beyond's Return of the Joker. I'm not a big Batman Beyond fan, but on cable a few years ago, I watched Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Put it on. I'm watching this. I'm like, wow, this is really sick. This is a crazy little mini movie that they had created for this cartoon. And what the Joker does is the Joker's dying, right? So they him and Harley Quinn kidnap Tim Drake, or the young Robin, and he's held for months. They have him and they're brainwashing him and they're doing all kinds of sick, crazy Clockwork Orange-esque things to this kid, and they psychologically break Robin. And Batman shows up. This takes place in the past, basically, because it's a Batman Beyond cartoon. And Batman shows up, and he's basically saves Robin. Robin comes out, dresses the Joker like a little kid with a smiley face, all screwed up and twisted. The Joker winds up dying. You fast forward, basically, so many years now. Terry McGinnis is Batman, and the Joker shows back up. And it's like, how the hell did the Joker return? How did he return? Well, he found a way to actually implant his personality onto Tim Drake. So Tim Drake is now an older man as well, and he goes through this like crazy like Jekyll and Hyde thing where he actually turns into the Joker and becomes the new Joker. And that was just totally crazy, something that the Joker would do, something fantastical, a fantastical moment in a cartoon or a comic book where the Joker may be dead, the original Joker, but the Joker lives on through psychologically breaking and torturing one of Batman's, sidekicks. So that's my second favorite Joker moment, but definitely one of my favorite Joker moments.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. My son came down and handed me one of these. I didn't want you to feel alone there, bro.
Oh, it's great. So now we're all he's got the nose on too. So here we go. Now we're just a bunch of clowns now. Yay! Clown faces.
Hey, we're on YouTube. We're clowns.
You red-nosed effers.
Hopefully this will get me one extra subscriber. A guy makes an ass out of himself on his live show.
Oh, dude, yeah, I hear you.
What's the next one?
Okay, so next what as far as Joker stuff goes? Well, that's all I got for the Joker. It was the beating Robin to death with a crowbar and the return of the Joker. Okay, so
what's your favorite Joker? Yeah.
Oh, my favorite iteration of the Joker, Mark Hamill, Batman the Animated Series. That is the Joker. To me, it encompasses all versions of the Joker, Silver Age, Modern Age. He's got a little bit of everything. It's Mark Hamill, for Christ's sakes, the guys from Skywalker.
Live action.
What happened?
Live action.
Oh, live action. Okay, so on my notes here, I have written Heath Ledger / Jack Nicholson. Okay, so if I had to choose one, and I'm going to get hung for this, I'm going with Jack Nicholson. And there's a reason why. Okay. Young nostalgia, and two, he's more jokery. This was the best portrayal of a movie villain, almost for a comic book movie villain, pretty much ever. I get that. He was super realistic, and he worked great for that world. For that world, he was the perfect version. He won a friggin' Oscar for Christ's sakes. However, to me, the Joker... You got to do Joker-esque things. The buzzer. The only thing he didn't have was the mallet. He does the stupid, goofy things where he's watching the TV and he clicks the button and the out of the gun comes the giant boxing glove and smashes the television. That is totally off the wall. He's dancing around, cutting up the painting, splashing paint. I want my face on the $1 bill. He's completely.
In the end, the Joker is still a comic book character, so you still have to have those outrageous elements in there.
Yeah, that to me was what makes him crazy. I hope the new version of the Joker has a taste of that. We've been talking very much about him being some kind of like a psychopath, a serial killer look from what we're getting from Joaquin. I just hope they don't shoehorn in, but find a way. You're not going to get a buzzer, an electronic buzzer or anything like that. I just hope that they figure out a way to maybe get like the acid or something, maybe splashes somebody with it, something that kind of calls back to something that is very Joker-esque, you know? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, for Christ's sakes, he gets punched in the face in the movie and then he spits out the teeth. I know that's kind of very goofy, but that is so Jokery and it's so something he would do. And even in the more serious versions of the Joker in the comic books, he's known to do things like that. Epic and agreed on the Batgirl from Kev's Matrix. God, when he paralyzes Barbara Gordon and she becomes Oracle. Yep, pretty much. Okay. RG, yeah, The Return of the Joker was a great film. Awesome, all around. So that's my favorite live-action version of the Joker. I'm going to go with Nicholson, although I'm probably going to get crucified from my friends after this. How the hell did you not say Heath Ledger? Knick Knack, do you have a favorite actor that played the Joker?
Dude, I got to follow you up there. You know what? The Batman animated series, it came out at the right time for me. It came out in what did it came out? 92. I was actually in high school at the time. But I mean, every afternoon at 4:30, it just really brought me into that whole universe of Batman. Gave me an appreciation of Batman that, honestly, even the 89 film or the 92 film did not. So yeah, to me, like you, it's got to be Mark Hamill. And I remember actually hearing, way after the fact that it was Mark Hamill that voiced the Joker, and I was just like blown away by that because that's freaking Luke Skywalker, man. I almost didn't believe it that Mark Hamill had that kind of range. And so, yeah, for me, it was definitely Mark Hamill as the Joker. If you got to go live action, if you're going to hold me to that, you know what? I got to go with, I'm with you. I'm with you again. It's got to be Jack Nicholson. And maybe it's nostalgia just hit me in the head. But I don't know. It just, the whole thing that the Jack Nicholson's Joker really, God, he scared the shit out of me as a kid, especially the whole scene, in the 89 film when they're in the art museum and he's got Vicky Vale like kind of cornered there and she throws the water on him and he still just looks so perverse and nasty even without his makeup on. That guy scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, totally, man. I want to take a break real quick. And I want to say for everybody that's watching, we got 17 viewers. We're shattering records tonight. The previous record was 13 viewers. We're up to 17. Let's try to kick it up again, guys. I know it's getting late. Send out a couple of messages. Send out a couple of tweets. Let them know to come and join us. The chat is blowing up, and I'm absolutely loving this. We are very humble. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the Red Cup Review, and subscribe to Knick Knack because he's been an awesome guest so far, and his page is just filled with a lot of funny moments, and it's chock full of nostalgia as well. And his promos are amazing. If you guys did not see that promo that he cut for this, you guys need to, when this is over, go and watch that promo. It's freaking hilarious. Baz.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyone?
Captain Marvel trailer. What's up?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. Let's get. Oh, yeah. Knick Knack. Anything else to say about the Joker before we move on to the Captain Marvel trailer?
Oh, dude, I just love my boy Joker, man. My wife is a huge Joker fan. My wife actually liked the Jared Leto version. I know that gets a lot of hate, but I gotta throw that out there. My wife loves Suicide Squad. I know that movie gets gets shit on in a lot of circles, but you know what? I dug it too. So I had to throw that out there as well.
He was a perfect fit for that movie as well. When I was sitting in the theater and I watched it, I enjoyed it while I was in the theater. And I said, I'm just going to enjoy the ride. Exactly, pretty much. That movie should have just stopped as soon as he showed up and then just been his movie kind of with the other characters kind of following his lead. Because, like, why would you take a great actor and kind of just toss him to the side for, the guys, the stuff that we did get?
Totally.
All right, so Captain Marvel trailer. The other big thing, we're going to move from DC onto the Marvel realm. What did everybody think of the Captain Marvel trailer? And I'm just going to throw this out there first. I'll take the reins first this time, then we'll move it on to Knick Knack and then Baz again. I'm going to be quick about it. I watched the Captain Marvel trailer. I was like, okay, another Marvel movie that looks fun. I'm probably going to think is awesome because I've pretty much liked everything that they've put out. There's not one Marvel movie that I don't like. Some of them are more forgettable than others. I pretty much like them all. It looks fun. It looks cool. It looks exciting. It also looks like paint by numbers. Brie Larson, I do not think was a good choice for this. From what we have so far, I'm not enjoying her bored face. This is Captain Marvel, everyone. I'm epic. Yeah, it's just not working for me. So there's that. The punching the old lady scene I thought was kind of funny because obviously she's going to be a Skrull. That's anybody that knows that the Skrulls from the movie, she's obviously punching a Skrull in that scene. And I enjoyed seeing the Nick Fury with the CGI. It looks great. Again, everything Marvel does looks great. I saw that. I was like, okay, that looks cool. I'll go see it and love it. I'll hate on it up until then. And then, you know, next year when we were sitting down doing the live show, we'll all be like, yeah, it was great. It was so much fun. I'm just not feeling it that much so far. The trailer didn't really do much for me. Doesn't tell you who the villains are. Doesn't tell you what her motivations are. But it seems like that's what they do with trailers nowadays. And that's pretty much it. And then I saw not to go back to the Joker thing, but then I saw the whole Joaquin Phoenix thing and completely forgot that Captain Marvel even came out this week. And it's just funny how a 30-second thing like that could make me forget the trailer. So I'm going to kick it over to Knick Knack and then to Baz. What did you guys think of the Captain Marvel trailer?
You know, I thought it was okay. You know what? Again, you know what? My mainstay into comic books and superheroes is not Marvel, and I'm not trying to shit on Marvel because Marvel does really cool shit. My introduction to Marvel actually came as late as 2002 with the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film. Before that, the only thing I knew Marvel for were two things. One, the Spider-Man and Friends cartoon series featuring Spider-Man and Firestar, and then what was the other guy, Iceman or something?
Yep.
So that was my one of my introductions into Marvel. My other introduction into Marvel, and this is just generational, guys. This is completely generational. My other introduction into Marvel was the lame ass Spider-Man on the Electric Company. Spider-Man. Nobody knows who you are. That's what I knew Marvel for before 2002. Now, DC, on the other hand, I knew DC from Christopher Reeve Superman, the iconic John Williams soundtrack, the mind-blowing 89 Batman film, then, of course, the 92 Batman series, and then, of course, the 96 Superman animated adventures. DC, when I was a child, just completely annihilated Marvel. I didn't know what Marvel was. I knew I had friends who kind of read the comics and were comic book store guys. But unless you were a comic book store guy growing up, no one knew what Marvel was. Now, I know that the tide has turned and it's totally flip-flopped. So now it's all Marvel, and Marvel's done an amazing job with their cinematic universe, and DC has really just dropped the ball again and again and again and again. But to me, it's always been DC. When I think of superheroes, I don't think of Marvel. But okay, all that said, after that whole rant, I have been watching Marvel films since, going back to 2002. And, I got into the MCU from Iron Man, which I thought was a great film. The first Iron Man was a great film. But everything with Marvel, like you said, does feel like a paint by colors thing. It's every single film feels like the same thing. It's just like it leads up to a big boss fight at the end. They do develop their characters well. I'll give them that. But every single Marvel movie, including even Black Panther and going back to the original Captain America film, the first Avenger, and then every single one of those just sort of feel like the same goddamn movie over and over and over again. So when I look at Captain Marvel, I'm like, well, here we go again. They're gonna throw you some nostalgia. They're gonna throw you she falls into a blockbuster video because it's got to take place in the 1990s if it's a blockbuster video, right? Is she gonna come out drinking a Crystal Pepsi too? I don't know. But again, I mean, I'm not shitting on Marvel, guys.
Azima. She's gonna have Azima.
He's gonna have lymphoma. You know, I get it, guys. And I'm not shitting on Marvel. It's just not what I grew up with. It's not what it doesn't drive my passions. So again, I see it. I think it'd probably be a good movie. Structurally, it'll be a good movie. The trailer looks sort of intriguing. When she punches out the old lady, that's kind of cool. It's kind of like, it kind of makes you kind of jump start a little bit. Oh, wow, look at that. She punched out an old lady on a bus. That's weird. What's up with that? But you know what? Again, at the end of the day, it's just going to be another Marvel movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Baz?
Listen, Marvel is trying too hard to make this D-list character happen as one of their female-led movies. Captain Marvel is a D-list character. She's uninteresting visually. Her powers are generic. The actress they hired to portray her sucks. It looks like a bland, boring, like you said, paint by the numbers movie. The only interesting thing I saw was Sam Jackson, and he's always interesting. So that's nothing.
I love
new.
Sam Jackson. I do love Sam Jackson. That's my boy Mace Windu, man. That's my boy Mace Windu.
Captain Marvel is like the Roman Reigns of Marvel. Okay, it's like to make this character happen, and nobody likes her. She's that's what I think. And,
okay, so then I'll kick it back to you, Baz, and I'm going to ask you. So since Captain Marvel is the Roman Reigns of Marvel, who would you pick if Marvel has to introduce a female superhero movie? Black Widow. She doesn't count. We want a Black Widow movie. We know that everyone wants to see her have her own movie at this point. Why is there red in her ledger? Says Miss Bell. We're still waiting for that, right? So who would you pick character-wise from Marvel for them to come out with a female movie?
They have the shittiest solo female characters, Marvel.
No, they do. See, again, this is where DC kind of has Marvel by the throat, is that every DC female character is pretty friggin' awesome, whereas Marvel doesn't have any one really cool by herself up until what they did with Black Widow.
They're all on teams.
They're all on teams. Then they're awesome on teams too. Like, I really like Storm. I love Rogue. I absolutely love Kitty Pryde. Again, all X-Men related characters. But all these characters are really great, but they're all team membered stuff. So until until Marvel comes out with their X-Men franchise, they really kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, right?
Yeah, and Captain Marvel ain't it, man.
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Baz. I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
That's okay. That's okay. Go.
No, I just was going to say. I think that the Captain Marvel movie is really Marvel's like response to Wonder Woman, and Gal Gadot is so wonderful. She's so talented. She's so beautiful. She just displays power. I loved Wonder Woman a lot, and to me, I just don't think they can top that.
No, they're not going to have a shot at topping that. Wonder Woman is my number 3 all-time favorite superhero, and she had big shoes to fill, Gal Gadot. And when they announced that, people were like, "Yo, she's a terrible actress. What the hell are they doing?" And she owned that. Now, did Gal Gadot own that role because she owned the role, or did she own the role because none of the other characters really were that good to begin with? I personally don't think so. I think she knocked it out of the park. But a lot of people do not like the DC Cinematic Universe. So is she getting a lot of love because she's the shining star in a sea of shit? Or is she just really that good?
Oh, she's that good, man. She is that good. She holds her own. And I'm sorry, you know what? I will say this. Henry Cavill as Superman, and I know you guys talked about this last week, but Henry Cavill as Superman is the greatest Superman since Christopher Reeve. And I know Ben Affleck gets a lot of shit, but you know what? I liked him as an old Batman. I liked Ben Affleck. So she holds her own with these two dudes. She completely holds her own. She owns it. And you know what? Like, I was sitting in Batman versus Superman with my wife when that movie came out. And that movie gets a lot of shit. That movie gets a lot of hate. And I don't understand it because you know what? Structurally, there's nothing wrong with that movie. That movie got shit on by critics, and everyone, like a bunch of sheep and lemmings, followed the critics' response to that film. There's nothing wrong with that movie. That movie is up there with Age of Ultron, for Christ's sake. It's structurally the same damn movie. It's a bunch of dudes and ladies in tights fighting sci-fi villains. So anyway, I'm sitting in the movie with Batman versus Superman with my wife, and there's a scene there with the Doomsday. We could have done a little better with Doomsday in that film. There's a scene with Doomsday, and she throws her freaking lasso on Doomsday, and my wife just sitting next to me like freaking nerdgasm. That was her comic moment because she grew up, loving Linda Carter as Batman, and she finally had that moment in a comic book movie where a female character shows up and kicks some serious freaking ass. And so I'm just speaking from my wife's perspective. She owned it.
Baz?
Yeah, exactly.
Took the words right out of your mouth.
Yeah.
She was strong, and then she had like real compassion.
Yeah, that was one thing that and this coming from Miss Bell, she was able to display the warrior princess kind of. She had the compassion and the motherly aspects that encompasses Wonder Woman, the supreme goddess femininity, but was also a kick-ass warrior that you could be like, yo, this girl rolls up and you're shit out of luck, pal, if she shows up. So I thought she was able to have both because I really love the Wonder Woman that's the kick-ass version of Wonder Woman from like the DC's New Frontier, where she's like, drinking with all the girls in I believe it was Vietnam, and she's like laughing with them, and she unleashes their captors and lets the girls go nuts on them, and then she screams at Batman, I believe, or she screams at Superman saying like to not interfere. That I think that Gal Gadot was able to have. She didn't have that moment yet, but she definitely was able to portray that type of like robust warrior, but also having the compassion and kind of softness that Wonder Woman needs as well.
She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. I love that movie. I love her portrayal as Wonder Woman. I guess I'm starting to repeat myself here, but yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, there's really nothing else much more you could say. Baz, you got something to say?
Yeah, from the comments section, Kev's Matrix says she's a natural Wonder Woman modern day. Kenny B says, I agree with you, Nick. The extended cut of B versus S is the godfather of comic book movies. I can say a lot about it.
Preach it. Kev's Matrix, preach it. That's right. Yep, nope, totally up there. I want to thank 5 Minutes of Fame for joining us. What's up, buddy? Old school in the house, a friend from back in the old neighborhood. I'd love to have you on the show eventually too. I know you got an extensive. We go back, man, with the Roton, and if we could let that story fly too one day on here. Anyways, let's see. Batman gets naked in a DC comic. Batman's dick, basically, was in the latest comic that DC released. So does anybody buy that in the comment section? Do you think that this is just a cash grab? Do you think that this is DC grabbing its straws here? DC, to my understanding, is now doing what Marvel did back about 10, 15 years ago when Marvel released their Max series, which was adult only. This Batman Damned comic seems to, I don't know if it's a one-shot or not. It's going to be an ongoing series, but their big thing, like 10 years ago when Jim Lee drew Batman and he did I'm the goddamn Batman, and everyone was like, oh, Batman swearing. Now it's, okay, we have to one-up ourselves, so we're just going to show Batman's dick.
So it's from the mature DC line called Black Label. It's supposed to be like a mature line, so I guess that's the maturity showing in Schlong. But they already retracted it in it's blacked out on digital copies, and future prints they're going to black it out. So
yeah, so it was like only the first run. They're going to show it. Basically, Batman crawls out of the Batmobile, and he's taking his suit off, and they just had to show him taking his pants off as well, and there's 2 shots of the ding-dong swinging in the Batcave.
You need to put that up on the page, the Red Cup page?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely put that up. So if you want to see those pictures, go to the official Red Cup review page on Facebook. Make sure to like that. Make sure to like Knick Knack. Subscribe to his channel, and subscribe to ours, and make sure you're liking the video as well. Keep the comments rolling in, fellas.
Well, look, I'm cool what do you guys think? As long as we get to see, I want to see Wonder Woman next. I want to see her bush.
Oh, yeah, you ain't going to see that. Not in this day and age. Not in this day.
Listen, I'm down for it. I used to love heavy metal comics when I was a kid, and they had everything in it. So, whatever.
Knick Knack, what do you think? Cash grab, or is this natural progression of things to just constantly escalate, or is this something that you think there's a need for a mature version of DC Comics at all at this point?
No, it's not. It's not a cash grab. I don't think it's a cash grab. You know, Batman has always been kind of the bell cow of DC Comics as far as pushing limits. They've always done that. And I haven't seen it myself, so I feel bad because I'm not speaking from a source. I haven't seen the actual image of his manhood as it would be. But my understanding was it's more of a silhouette than anything else. Again, you know, it's not a cash grab as long as it pertains to the as long as it contributes to the storytelling. I don't care. You know, there's so much stuff out there that's for kids, and then there's so much stuff that's out there for adults. And you know what? And I don't care if Batman goes mature. I really don't.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be like a specific comic too. This isn't going to be his whole regular series. Baz.
No, it's Blacklight. Yo, it's good. I read some of the first few pages of it. It's really good. The art's beautiful. It's Lee Bermejo, the guy who did the Joker trade paperback. No, it's a good. And he meets up with John Constantine.
Oh, nice.
So it's a miniseries. I think it's 3 or 4 issues or something.
That's cool.
From what I read, it's really cool.
You know, Justice League Dark would lend itself really well to a mature Tales as well. Yeah, that would be really cool to see. Like,
yeah, I'm looking forward to this line. So it's an adult themed line.
I'd like to see a Black Canary and Green Arrow adult themed. I'd like to see how that would go. Now, I'm not saying I want to see them sleep with each other, but I'd like to. That's like a character I would like to see taken in a mature direction.
I want to see her use her canary cry on Green Arrow's balls.
Talk about your vibration. All right, good vibrations. That would be cool. All right, so
the Beach Boys into this. That's pretty awesome, dude.
we're going to close the show down. Not yet, but we're going to wind it down with our last topic of the night, and we're going to talk about Henry Cavill being the next James Bond. Huh? Really? I kind of like it. What do you guys think? He's so freaking hot. That's what she says. So one of you guys got to take the reins. I know.
I'll go. Dude, I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't want to see this dude. I know you guys talked about this last week. I don't want to see this dude hang up his cape. So I don't want to say this as far as like, I know the guy's got, only so much time on his hands, but I think he'd be a great James Bond. Hey, he's got that British accent. He's got the look. You know what? Totally, man. The guy's an action hero. We need more action heroes in this day and age. Henry Cavill's a good dude. I like him.
Baz?
Yeah, he looks like he would be the perfect James Bond. I mean, he's got that suave, debonair kind of look. He's handsome, and he's also built. Like, he looks like he can take care of himself.
Yeah, I think he encompasses, we were talking about this, Baz, earlier in the week. I think he encompasses the best parts of past actors that have played James Bond. First of all, he's British, so that's not far off. Second of all, he's a handsome dude, right? He's got like that slick black hair the way Pierce Brosnan had like that handsome look as James Bond, but he's got a build more in the vein of Daniel Craig. So he's got a physicality about him. He's got a little bit of an imposing threateningness about him. So he can handle himself when you see him, but he also has a suave and smooth debonair look about his face. And Miss Bell mentions he played a very similar role in the movie The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I also happen to like very much.
Absolutely, guys. I just got to chime in. You know what? There was that scene in Man of Steel when he shows up, after he's been in the ocean, after he saved the guys on the oil refinery, and he shows up without his shirt on. And you know what? I mean, hey, I am a heterosexual man, but he is a damn fine looking individual. I will say that. And yeah, he looks like if he punched you in the face, it would hurt.
Yeah, Miss Bell's gonna break the bell. she's punching the bell right now.
He's so goddamn.
He's a fine man. He is a fine looking man. I agree.
Okay, so I want to ask you fellas, last question of the night, and for the last question for the people in the chat room, what is your favorite James Bond movie, and who is your favorite actor to portray James Bond? I'm going to do Baz first, and then we're going to close it with Knick Knack. Baz, favorite James Bond movie, favorite actor to play James Bond?
My favorite one is probably the one where Sean Connery came back for the role. Never Say Never Again.
Okay, very cool. Do you remember anything you want to give us? Anything about that movie in particular?
Well, no, just that I had grown up with what's his name, Roger Moore as as James Bond, and I would always hear, stories from my father about how great Sean Connery was, and we didn't have cable back then. Really, we didn't have a way to see the old movies. So when he came back in the role, I got to see for myself live in the movies how awesome he was, and he lived up to the legend that was built up, and it was great. So yeah, that's my favorite.
Well, never say never again. Favorite movie? Who's your favorite Bond?
Oh boy, I can't pick. I don't know. There's elements I like all of them.
Like, all of them again. Oh my God, you're just swimming in a sea of just give me whatever. I'll just eat it up. It's great. Hey, listen, I can't hate on that. There are too many good ones.
I like Skyfall, the second one.
That was good too. It's funny. You could like the problem with picking certain things about certain characters. You could like aspects of everyone. Certain things could stick out to you and how much you like them. Knick Knack, favorite James Bond movie, favorite James Bond.
Oh, guys, this is so easy for me. It's got to be Roger Moore. I mean, I keep coming back to this, but I was a child of the 70s and 80s. I grew up watching James Bond movies on ABC television because ABC back in the day had some kind of contractual agreement with Paramount Pictures and James Bond films. Like actually James Bond's through MGM, but nevertheless, ABC television showed James Bond movies at nauseum. I remember seeing The Spy Who Loved Me on ABC television back in the mid 80s, and just Roger Moore was just so cool. He embodied that sense of Bond, but not like in a sense that took itself too seriously like Roger Craig did, in the last decade. Roger Moore just embodied that that almost that kind of 70s 80s cheese that was just so delicious. It's like eating just a log of Velveeta cheese. It's delicious. It's awesome. It makes no sense and it's not good for you, but it's still just awesome. It's like eating a block of Velveeta cheese watching Roger Moore portray James Bond. I absolutely loved it. The opening sequence to The Spy Who Loved Me features that scene where he's skiing down the mountain in the Alps after he's had some kind of nefarious affair with some woman, and he leaves the cabin and he starts skiing down the hill, and he's skiing and all these guys are coming at him with M16s and shit, and then he goes over the cliff. That is just amazing. And the parachute comes out, and then the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bam! That is so amazing. Yeah, Spy Who Loved Me. And then, of course, submarines and giant ships that eat submarines. And then, of course, it's the first film with Jaws in it. The big, the teeth guy. You can't beat The Spy Who Loved Me. You can't beat
the best film.
Yeah, he was Bond to me. I wasn't old enough to appreciate Sean Connery, who I've gotten more familiar with as an adult. But I don't care. To me, it's Roger Moore all day.
Absolutely.
Knick Knack, didn't For Your Eyes Only start with a skiing scene also?
Dude, there are so many of those that start with skiing. I think there are so many of them that start with skiing. I don't know. Didn't Timothy Dalton's first film? What was that? What was his first film?
View to Kill.
Not View to Kill. That was Roger Moore's last film. Living Daylight started out with a skiing film too, or a skiing shot too. But
so Europeans just ski more than Americans.
Yeah, well, Spy Who Loved Me, when he goes over the cliff and the parachute comes out, and it's the Union Jack flag and the da-da-da-da, and he lands on a submarine. Come on, guys. It doesn't get better than that.
We're basically boiling 40, 50 years of James Bond down to he just skis.
What's the one where he walks on alligator heads?
That too. What was that? That was, of course, Roger Moore's first film as James Bond. God, it's escaping.
That was like Pitfall. The video game. Yeah.
Yeah. That took place in New Orleans. What's the film, guys? Come on, guys. I can't. Not the Living. Live and Let Die. Of course, it had the Beatles. Had the Beatles song.
Jane Seymour, right?
Yeah.
Jane Seymour, the actress Jane Seymour.
Right.
I think that was her first film.
She is gorgeous. She's gorgeous in the 70s. Oh, my God.
All right. My favorite Bond film is a tie. Actually, a three-way tie, but I will pick. Well, look, there's 3 out of 30 films. This guy was in like 25 different films. Dr. No, the first, which with Connery. I'm going with like I didn't have much experience with what's his face as James Bond. Roger Moore. I know he was in a ton of them. He was probably the longest. I think he had like the longest tenure as James Bond, which is weird.
One of them.
I grew up with my grandparents, so Sean Connery was always James Bond in my house. So I went back, even as a little kid, I remember watching Dr. No, and I just was completely enamored with it, especially when I rewatched it again as a teenager, right before I went to college. And I was like, wow, this is for a movie in the early 60s. This was really freaking dynamite. And, Sean Connery with the perfect swag as James Bond. However, second movie, GoldenEye. I am a Pierce Brosnan fan. I thought he was a very good choice in the 90s to portray him. I loved Famke Janssen as Xenia Onatopp. That's had that cheesiness to it as well a little bit, but I really enjoyed that movie as well.
When I first saw her in that movie, I thought she was like the sexiest.
Exactly. Like when you think of that movie, you think of the silo scene where he dives off. The movie opens up where he dives off of the missile silo, I believe, which was a great shot. And you think
Didn't she kill somebody with her crotch?
Exactly. She has intercourse with the guy in the steam room, and she wraps her legs around him, and she basically strangles him with her legs. And that was like her little gimmick. She strangles people during intercourse, which is always fun. So.
Can you just imagine? We would have been completely like taken. We would never have gotten Timothy Dalton as James Bond if Pierce Brosnan just could have gotten out of his Remington Steele contract from the mid '80s when he was locked into the show Remington Steele. I don't know if you guys ever watched that.
No, I know.
Yeah, so he was locked into that contract. We would have never gotten Timothy Dalton. It would have been Pierce Brosnan from after the time that Roger Moore retired, which is kind of weird to think about.
Knick Knack, I want to ask you a question. What do you think about this whole theory about how James Bond isn't an actual person? That it's just a code name.
Code name. Yeah. No, I totally buy into it, and it actually it gives the whole series. What are we up to? 26 films, 27 films, but it totally gives the whole film, like the whole film series, a canon based off the James Bond isn't actually a guy. It's a code name. It's 007, and there's several Bonds. And which Pierce Brosnan film was it where they gave a lot of callbacks to the '60s Sean Connery films, where he's come into the headquarters and he's hanging out with Q, and Q's going over like all these like new knickknacks for him. Knick Knack, and I don't mean to plug myself, Knick Knack, but he's going over all these cool things, and they actually give a couple callbacks to some of the 60s technology that they used in the Sean Connery film. Which film is that? Is that like Die Another Day, or I can't remember. Maybe someone in the comment section can remember.
I have no idea. I did see it though. I remember seeing it, but I have no idea.
But there was that world is not George Lazenby came in. There was the one movie that George Lazenby played Bond, and he got married in that movie, and she was killed at the end of the movie.
Oh, that was on Her Majesty's Secret Service. That was the one film he did. Yeah. A lot of people actually really like
Roger Moore movie where he's at her grave. So there's continuity there.
Is that Octopussy at the beginning of Octopussy? Remember the beginning of Octopussy when he throws Dr. No into the tunnel with the helicopter? He picks up his wheelchair and flies the helicopter and drops Dr. No into the smokestack. Remember that? Yeah. That was the beginning. That was the opening sequence to Octopussy, I think. Someone can correct me. I might be wrong. I've been drinking, guys. I'm sorry, but
to round out my three, I'm going to say I said GoldenEye, I said Dr. No. I got to go with Casino Royale. Completely took me blindsided me at how great Daniel Craig would be, and he brought a real physicality to Bond that we've never seen before. I really enjoyed Casino Royale. It has one of my favorite moments, the card game in any James Bond movie. But if I had to pick one, I'm going with Sean Connery, the classic, just because every time I think of James Bond in my head, I always think of Sean Connery. That's really my only basis for him being my favorite James Bond, because when I think of James Bond, I think of Sean Connery is because of the association. Other than that, I couldn't tell you if he was my absolute favorite. Just, you know, if you think of a character and you associate a face to it, like when I read a Batman comic, I automatically think of the voice from the animated series. I got to go with Sean Connery. And that's my reasoning behind that.
The voice of the animated series, Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy, exactly. Okay, that's the show, fellas. That's the show this week. Round of applause for everybody. You know, thanks everyone for joining in. Yeah. I'm going to take one more look at the list here. We went through everything. Henry Cavill's the next James Bond we spoke about, our favorite movies and everything. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Subscribe to Knick Knack's Plastic Planet. Knick Knack, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Red Cup Review. Make sure you guys subscribe here. Baz, thank you so much for joining me again. Dude, you're the best. Make sure you like the video. Everybody that's in the chat right now, go and like that video. Enjoy Baz's lightsaber and Porg. Thumbs up to everybody for joining us. This was a great. This is our longest one yet, and it was fun to do throughout. So make sure you subscribe to Knick Knack's Plastic Planet, and please remember to subscribe to us and like the video. And please join us next week where we'll go over the same stuff for the Red Cup Review, Pop Culture Week in Review as well.
Hey, guys, can I just say one more thing?
Totally. Yeah, now I'm going to kick it back to you guys and close it out.
I just want to say, let me close this. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much for letting this mountain hick from Colorado hang out with you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I had a really good time. Thank you so much to Red Cup Reviews. And once again, please do subscribe to Knick Knack Plastic Planet if you want more of this kind of bullshit, because I bring it every week. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Red Cup. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Nice meeting you, man. And let's do this again.
Yeah, definitely. Have me on anytime, guys. Hit me up. This was fun.
Yeah, no, you will definitely be making another appearance on the Red Cup Review. So, everybody, thanks again for joining us. Thanks to the fans. Thanks for breaking a record. We broke 2 records this week. Record number 1, we hit 1,001 watch minutes from last week's video. Now, obviously, that's going to grow as the weeks goes on and people go and watch our stuff. But I go a week-by-week basis with this stuff because we do a new live show every Saturday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So between last week and this week, we had the most watch-viewed minutes we've ever had for 1,001 minutes. Thank you to the fans or family. You guys aren't fans. You guys are family for making that happen. And thank you, everyone, for breaking a record this week with 18 perfect strangers. We had 18 people in the chat room. It was blowing up. Best we've done, and we've shattered the record of 14 with 18 this week. So next week, let's make it 20. We'll go with increments like that. Thank you again, Knick Knack. Don't go anywhere, Knick Knack. I'm going to end the live stream, and we're going to talk after this and do our little wrap up as well. Baz, you're the man. There you go. The horns up for you guys. And everybody out there, have a great week, and we'll see you next week on the Red Cup Review Live.
Metal.